All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping into a really cool project. We're going to take this tiny credit card-sized computer, the Raspberry Pi, and turn it into your very own personal cloud server. It's all about taking back control of our data, and you're going to see it's way easier than you think. So let's dive in and get building.
So let me ask you something. Are you getting a little tired of paying those monthly subscription fees for cloud storage? Maybe you're worried about who's looking at your files, or what happens if a service you rely on suddenly changes the rules. Yeah, I think we've all been there, right? Well, that's the exact problem we're going to solve today.
Well, the solution is right here. We're going to build our own. Think of this explainer as your guide, your roadmap to taking back control of your digital life. We're going to go step by step, from a totally blank SD card all the way to a fully functional file server that you can access from anywhere.
All right, so you know how every great project needs a solid foundation? Well, for our Raspberry Pi server, that foundation is the operating system. This is the core software that's going to run everything else, so getting this right is absolutely the first thing we got to do.
You know, the folks behind Raspberry Pi have made this part super simple with their official Imager tool. You just download the app and it basically holds your hand through the whole thing. You choose your operating system, pick your micro SD card, and then just hit write. It just handles all the tricky stuff for you in the background. It's awesome.
Okay, so once you fire up that Imager, you've got a choice to make. You can go with the full desktop version, which feels just like a regular computer, or you can pick the light version. Now, you might see that light version and think, hey, that's for servers. And you're not wrong, it does use fewer resources. But for this explainer, we're going to stick with the standard OS. Honestly, it's just perfect for getting started and gives you a familiar graphical interface to fall back on if you need it.
So once the Imager does its thing, you just pop that little micro SD card into your Pi, plug it all in, and boom, it's alive! You'll see a setup screen where you'll connect to your Wi-Fi, set your language, create a password. This is that first amazing moment where you see your project actually come to life.
All right, so our Pi has its brain. That's the OS. But now it needs a place to actually store all our stuff. This is where the hard drives come in. So let's get these drives hooked up and teach our little Pi how to see all that brand new space.
So to get the Pi to even see our new storage hardware, we just have to tweak one little text file. Seriously, it's just like flipping a switch in the settings. By adding these two lines, we're basically telling the Pi's brain, hey, pay attention, wake up, and look for some new high-speed hardware, which is exactly where our drive controller is connected.
And the magic command to make all this actually happen, you guessed it, the classic, the one and only, a simple sudo reboot. This one little command tells the Pi to restart, read our new settings, and when it comes back on, it'll see those drives waiting. Okay, I know this slide looks a little intimidating with all the commands, but trust me, it's just a simple, logical process. It's kind of like when you get a new USB drive, right? You have to format it before you can use it. Same idea here. We create a partition to section off the drive, we format it with a good, solid file system, we make an empty folder for it to live in, and then we officially mount it, connecting the drive to that folder.
But wait a second, there's a catch. You don't want to have to type in that mount command every single time you restart your server, right? That would be a huge pain. And that's where this special file called fstab saves the day. It's basically your Pi's morning checklist. It makes sure that every time it boots up, it automatically connects our big storage drive so it's always ready to go. And making this happen automatically is, believe it or not, as simple as adding this one single line to that fstab file. This line tells the Pi everything it needs to know, which drive, where to connect it, and what format it is. You literally set it once, and you never have to think about it again. It just works.
Awesome. So we have our storage, it's connected, it's ready, but how do we actually use it from our laptop or a desktop? We need to make it show up on the network. Well, that's where this amazing piece of software called Samba comes in.
So, the secret sauce here is Samba. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a universal translator for your home network. You know, Windows, Mac OS, Linux, they all have their own little quirks for sharing files. Samba steps in, speaks all of their languages, and lets every device on your network see and use your Pi server like it was just another folder. It's brilliant.
Getting Samba up and running is just a few logical steps. First, we grab the software. Then, And this is super important for security. We create a special user with a password just for Samba. Next, we make sure the permissions on our storage folder are set correctly. And finally, we just edit one little configuration file to tell Samba, hey, this is the folder I want you to share with everyone.
And boom! Just like that, we've hit another huge milestone. The core of our server is officially done. You can now go to any computer on your Wi-Fi, browse the network, and you should see your brand new Raspberry Pi server pop right up, ready for you to drag and drop files. How cool is that?
Okay, this is awesome for when you're on your own Wi-Fi. But what's a personal cloud if you can't access it from, well, anywhere? For that, we're going to add the final amazing layer, a slick web interface.
Okay, first up, we're going to install a tool called Webmin. Think of it as the ultimate remote control for your server. It gives you this powerful graphical dashboard to manage all the nuts and bolts, system settings, users, software, all from the comfort of your web browser. No more command line needed if you don't want it.
So, after all that command line stuff, you're probably asking, okay, so what does my server actually look like from a browser? How do I get to this new control panel?
It's literally this simple. You just pop open any web browser on your network, type in your Pi's IP address, then add a colon and the number 10,000. Hit enter, and bam, you're looking at the front door to your server's control panel.
Now, Webmin is fantastic for managing the server itself, the nuts and bolts. But for actually managing our files in a nice, clean way, let's add one more thing, a really beautiful, dedicated file manager called FileGator.
Putting FileGator online is basically a four-step dance. First, we need a web server. We'll use Apache to actually host the website. Then, we download FileGator itself. We do a quick configuration to tell Apache how to serve the site, and then the final magic trick is telling FileGator where our big storage drive is. Once that's done, our web portal is live.
And that's it. Seriously, you did it. That tiny little circuit board is now a full-blown private cloud server. It's sharing files to every computer on your home network, and you've given it this gorgeous web portal so you can get your files securely from anywhere on the planet.
Think about it. You just took this tiny little computer and turned it into a powerful tool that puts you in total control of your data. You didn't just follow steps, you built something. So with your data finally truly in your hands, the only question left is, what are you going to build next?